Welcome to our defense briefing show. Today we're diving into some fiery regional tensions as Israel targets Hezbollah in Beirut's southern suburbs, claiming to strike drone factories funded by Iran. Lebanon is furious, calling it a ceasefire violation, while Hezbollah denies the factories even exist. The situation remains tense with accusations flying and regional instability on the rise. In other news, President Trump has a unique take on the Ukraine conflict, comparing it to a kid's brawl, suggesting he might just let them fight it out before stepping in. His cautious approach is causing ripples ahead of upcoming international summits, as allies watch closely how the US plans to handle the ongoing war. And finally, there's buzz about the US Navy's ship named after gay rights leader Harvey Milk. Reports suggest the Navy is considering renaming it, sparking debates over military symbolism, diversity, and history, especially as Pride Month is in full swing. This move highlights ongoing discussions about representation and tradition in the military. Please continue to watch for more detailed stories and updates. From CBC, the recent Israeli airstrikes in Beirut's southern suburbs have reignited tensions between Israel and Hezbollah. Just as the Eid al-Adha holiday approaches, the strikes targeted what Israel claims are underground drone production facilities operated by Hezbollah, allegedly financed and guided by Iran. Israel issued warnings before the attack, aiming to dismantle Hezbollah's drone industry, which has played a significant role in its attacks against Israel. Despite Israel's assertions, Hezbollah officials deny the existence of such facilities at the targeted sites, accusing Israel of wanting to prolong regional conflict and violating the ceasefire agreement brokered by the United States. Lebanon's government, including President Joseph Aoun and Prime Minister Nawaf Salam, condemned the strikes, viewing them as blatant violations of international law and a message of instability, with Aoun accusing Israel of using Lebanon as a mailbox for sending signals to the US amidst ongoing negotiations with Iran over nuclear issues. The ongoing skirmishes have resulted in the deaths of hundreds of civilians and increased international pressure on Hezbollah to surrender its remaining weapons, but the group refuses to disarm until Israeli forces withdraw from occupied border points. CNN reports that President Donald Trump has shifted from his earlier optimism about resolving the Ukraine conflict to a more resigned and pragmatic stance, comparing the war to a fight between unruly children in a park. During a recent Oval Office conversation with German official Friedrich Merz, Trump likened the situation to letting two kids fight it out before stepping in, reflecting his frustration with the deadlock and his reluctance to impose new sanctions or military aid. Trump's analogy underscores his view that sometimes intervention may be more harmful than helpful, a stark contrast to his previous promises to swiftly end the war. His ambivalent approach comes amid upcoming international summits, where he is expected to face mounting pressure from allies and Ukrainian leaders to adopt a firmer stance. Despite his comments about stopping the killing, Trump's tone reveals a sense of detachment and the belief that the conflict may need to run its course, echoing his earlier calls for patience and his reluctance to escalate US involvement in the ongoing crisis. The Globe and the Mail echoes the concerns raised by CBC regarding the Israeli strikes on Beirut, emphasizing the delicate state of Lebanon's fragile ceasefire and the regional instability caused by ongoing hostilities. The strikes targeted Hezbollah's alleged drone production sites, with Israel asserting that Hezbollah's drone capabilities are being expanded under Iranian guidance, threatening Israel's security. Lebanese officials, however, deny the existence of such facilities and criticize Israel's unilateral actions, which they see as violations of the ceasefire agreement. The conflict has resulted in significant civilian casualties, and international calls for restraint are growing louder. Hezbollah remains firm in its refusal to disarm, demanding Israel's withdrawal from border areas first. The situation underscores the broader regional tensions, with Lebanon caught between Israeli military actions and Hezbollah's defiant stance, highlighting the persistent volatility that threatens to reignite full-scale conflict. CNN reports on the recent decision by the Trump administration to rename the USNS Harvey Milk, a Navy ship named after the iconic gay rights leader and former Navy officer. Following a tradition of re-evaluating the names of military vessels, the ship, launched in San Diego Bay in 2021, was a symbol of progress for LGBTQ+ representation, honoring Milk's legacy as one of America's first openly gay elected officials and a courageous advocate for equality. However, less than 4 years later, the Navy is considering a name change, with officials indicating that a new name is expected soon, sparking controversy and emotional reactions. Prominent figures like Nancy Pelosi have condemned the move, emphasizing Milk's service and impact, while others view the renaming as part of a broader political trend to erase or diminish LGBTQ+ achievements. The Navy's decision fits into a larger pattern of renaming ships previously linked to contentious historical figures, but it has ignited debates about history, identity, and the symbolism of military assets during Pride Month. Yahoo News highlights the broader implications of the Navy's potential renaming, revealing a list of other vessels also under review for name changes, including those honoring civil rights leaders and pioneering figures such as Thurgood Marshall, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Harriet Tubman, and Cesar Chavez. Such moves are rare but have gained momentum in recent years, especially when ships previously bore names associated with the Confederacy or other controversial histories. The article underscores the significance of these decisions in the context of national memory and social progress, illustrating how the military is grappling with its historical legacies amid evolving cultural values. The controversy surrounding the USNS Harvey Milk reflects a larger cultural debate about how history is remembered and memorialized, especially during Pride Month, and whether military naming conventions should adapt to contemporary values or preserve historical ties. From the Washington Post, we learn about the ongoing political and military policies under the Trump administration that extend beyond the ship renaming, including a series of actions aimed at emphasizing meritocracy and reducing the influence of identity politics within the Department of Defense. The administration's moves, such as ending the observance of cultural awareness months and restricting diversity-related events, have sparked criticism from advocates who argue these policies undermine efforts toward inclusivity and recognition of marginalized groups. These policies are part of a broader trend of the administration's attempts to reshape military culture and values, often framing them as necessary for national security and unity. The article contextualizes the renaming controversy within this larger framework, illustrating how political priorities and ideological shifts are influencing military traditions and the way history and identity are acknowledged within the armed forces, especially during a time of heightened social and cultural debate. The Associated Press reports a tragic story from Hawaii, where Facee Dwayne Johnson Tasai was sentenced to 23 years in prison for the brutal murder of his pregnant wife, Misha Johnson. During a military court hearing, Johnson tearfully confessed to attacking his wife with a machete after an argument, claiming he never intended to kill her. In an attempt to conceal his crime, he dismembered her body with a chainsaw and disposed of her remains in a dumpster, where evidence eventually led investigators to his home. The case has left the family devastated, with loved ones struggling to focus on memories of happier times amidst the horrifying details of her final moments. The Army prosecutor expressed hope that Johnson's guilty plea might bring some closure to the family, despite the profound pain caused by the loss of Misha and her unborn child. The Associated Press also covers a significant shift in U.S.-China relations, where the Treasury Department decided not to label China a currency manipulator in its latest report, despite criticizing Beijing for a lack of transparency in its exchange rate policies. This decision comes amid ongoing trade negotiations aimed at avoiding a full-blown trade war, with President Trump and Chinese officials engaging in positive talks after recent tariff reductions. The report hints that future assessments may find evidence of currency manipulation, but for now the U.S. is emphasizing dialogue and strategic measures rather than sanctions. This diplomatic move reflects a delicate balancing act, as the Trump administration seeks to maintain economic leverage while fostering negotiations with China, which has historically been accused of devaluing its currency to boost exports. Meanwhile, Yahoo US reports that Washington's Reagan National Airport is preparing for disruptions during President Trump's planned Army Anniversary Parade on June 14th to facilitate flyovers and fireworks along the parade route. The Federal Aviation Administration is expected to suspend flights at the airport for up to 4 hours, affecting scheduled airline operations. This event, marking the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary, coincides with Trump's 79th birthday and is said to be a grand celebration. The article also briefly recalls a tragic air disaster in January when a helicopter and a regional jet collided over the Potomac River, claiming 67 lives, highlighting the importance of safety amid large-scale national events. As preparations unfold, the city balances patriotic festivities with logistical and safety considerations, ensuring the event proceeds smoothly despite potential disruptions. BBC reports that U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced sanctions against 4 female judges of the International Criminal Court, ICC, accusing them of illegitimate actions targeting Israel and the United States. These measures follow the ICC's issuance of arrest warrants for Israeli officials, including Benjamin Netanyahu, over alleged war crimes in Gaza and its investigation into U.S. military conduct in Afghanistan. Rubio condemned the judges for their roles in authorizing investigations into U.S. personnel and Israeli leaders, claiming their actions are politically motivated and undermine U.S. sovereignty. The ICC responded by reaffirming its independence and denouncing the sanctions as attempts to weaken its authority, emphasizing that such measures harm efforts to hold perpetrators accountable for war crimes. This confrontation highlights the growing tension between the U.S. and the ICC, with the court asserting that its work is vital for justice, while the U.S. views the ICC's actions as politicized overreach. Last year, the U.S. imposed sanctions on the ICC's leadership, criticizing the court for abusing its power, further intensifying the clash over international justice and sovereignty. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopsis, thoughtfully curated by the 6DO team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6DO Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6DO team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6DO Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6DO Brief via email.
Morning coffee, fresh off the press. Reading headlines, feeling blessed. World keeps turning, stories unfold. Every moment go. Scrolling, swiping, reading on. Daylight breaks in the dawn. Headlines and headlines, can't get enough.